What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Tonight we're joined by the legend, the juicer. I don't know if he juices, Mr.
No,
Gene Della Sala from Audioholics. What's up, Gene?
not much. Thanks for the introduction. And no, for the record, the only juice I drink is lemon juice, which is in this cup right here because it helps me suppress my appetite at night.
I'm drinking today. We're drinking lemonade.
Mojito.
Lemonade, man. Don't tell them I'm drinking
Oh, okay.
mojitos.
I love mojitos.
I love mojitos too. So we just decided to come on tonight just because we had some free time. We wanted to like BS a little bit, talk about some
Yeah.
Yamaha receivers, AVRs.
Got one back there, the RX-A6A. I've been, doing little videos on it here and there for the last couple of weeks.
I know. I've been seeing them pop up on a weekly, daily basis.
That last one I did on the Pure Direct, I think I got like 22,000 views in a few days. I'm like, damn, I got to do more videos like this.
What so why they still have that little option to go to 4 ohms, huh?
They made it more blatantly easy to access for the general user. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I'm like, get that thing out of the menus, keep it in an advanced user menu that only the installer gets to, which is what they did with the RXZ line. Now, instead, they put it in the speaker menu. The most popular, most often used menu in setup is the speaker menu. And right there, you can go and violate the power of that receiver. And I just don't understand why they're doing that. I really don't.
What?
And if you look at the performance on it, it's actually not really limiting the power with 2 channels driven for 4 ohms. It's limiting the power with multiple channels driven, even if it's an 8 ohm load. So it really is a handicap on the receiver that is not necessary.
What is the thought behind even including that for all these years?
The whole reason why that impedance switch exists is they want to be able to say to the end user that their receiver is safe with a 4 ohm load. Now, if you say that and you submit it to UL or CSA for regulatory testing for heat dissipation, they're going to test that amplifier up until the point where it's clipping to make sure it doesn't dissipate too much heat and blow out or cause, fires in someone's house, whatever. So the way around that is to make that amplifier clip much sooner. So when they go to do that UL test, instead of clipping at 140 watts, it'll clip at 50 watts. And the amplifier will run a lot cooler because they're not testing it out to a much higher power. The problem with that is in real world scenarios now, you just basically put a limiter on it. It's like having a Corvette and put it in valet mode where the thing won't go, beyond like 3rd gear or something, and you can't go more than 50 miles an hour. That's basically what it's doing.
Why would they not put like a disclaimer, like say, listen, if you put in 4 ohms, it's going to clip sooner?
I just don't think the general public would understand that, and they just want a cheap way or a quick way to do this test and get that certification. And yeah, it's a stupid thing. It really is. The bottom line is if you're buying a receiver and you're buying all these really hard speaker loads to drive, let's say you got one of those old Apogee speakers that dip down to 2 or 3 ohms. Don't use the receiver. Go and preamp out the front channels for those difficult speakers and use the internal amps on the receiver for your other channels, because the other surround channels are not that demanding. You're not dissipating a lot of power in them. They're closer to the listening area, so they're not using as much power. They're base managed, so they're not robbing power at low frequencies, which is where you use most of the power anyways. So that's really the way around it. Now, I've used Yamaha receivers in the past with 4 ohm speakers and never really had a problem. I don't listen at crazy levels. I do listen, I'd say at 80 dB reference level, which is pretty loud. And the worst case scenario is they get a little hot. You make sure you have plenty of ventilation. And in most cases, when I set up receivers anyway, I'm base managing and I'm using multiple subwoofers, which is what most people should do. It helps take the strain off the receiver and you get better bass out of powered subs as opposed to a tower that really isn't full range.
Now that you bring that up, so if you're running a tower at full range, does it make sense to cross it over at 80 hertz?
Yeah, because most towers don't really have usable, meaningful SPL output down to 20 or 30 hertz. If you look at most towers are kind of rolling off below 30 hertz and they just don't play very loud below that. But the advantage of a tower over a bookshelf speaker, even bass managed, is you have way more headroom, way more output, way more sensitivity in the crossover region where you're crossing that speaker over to the subs. So now that tower will play equally as loud to, let's say you buy this monster 13-inch THX subwoofer from Monoprice, as opposed to using a 6.5-inch two-way bookshelf that can only play maybe 95 dB. Now you get a tower that could play to 105 dB peaks, and you're better matched with your subs. You have the dynamic range from 20 hertz all the way out to 20 kilohertz.
You tell me those Revel speakers aren't banging hard at 40 hertz.
They don't have a lot of bass. No, they traded sensitivity for low end bass, not like the Salon 2s. They have decent amount of bass down to 40 hertz, but below 30 hertz, no, not really. Like if I was really doing a full range
like
system,
for like 40, 45.
yeah,
So
they're pretty
okay.
tight there.
So to match with those, like, would you not drop your crossover around 40 or 45?
If it's a two channel scenario and it's a small listening area, like one or two
home theater.
seats.
Home theater.
No, I would probably still, it depends. It depends on the room. If it's a really large room, I might run them full range just to get the extra output below 80 hertz to blend in with the other subs. You get more modal density that way.
Oh wait,
But
so you said run those full range speakers at full range without crossing. I just want to be sure because that's what I do most of the time. But
it really depends.
Nobody really talks about it though.
So I set up a system for my uncle that was in a 50-foot room, and he had towers that were similar to the Revels, and he had two subs. And at first, I was going to run the towers at 80 hertz crossover and then just use the subs for the rest. But I actually found that running the speakers full range, and using the PEQ, I got better modal density by having the towers plus the two subs.
Yeah.
In the 40 to 60 hertz range, I got better integration. So I ran them full range.
Yeah. That's what
it really depends.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends. I mean, obviously, if you have less than capable speakers, of course, 80 hertz, I would say. But I still think just putting in 80 hertz kind of like blanket statement saying 80 hertz, you just do that.
I would say for 90% of people, 80 hertz is just easier because most people don't know how to integrate tower bass with subwoofer bass. It gets really tricky if you don't time align it properly. It could do more harm than good.
Right. Because I find like some of the speakers I reviewed, especially like those Sopras, when I had those as rear speakers, those Sopra ones, I was letting those things rip like full range, and there's bass comes out of those back speakers. I don't care what you say. If there's a car coming back there, you feel that back speaker rumble up front. Whereas if it was cut off at 80 hertz, you don't feel that. It feels like it's coming everywhere.
In theory, it'll dump to the subs. And, when you have like the Trinov or the Storm audio processor, you could redirect the bass from that channel to the closest sub. So, I mean, you can't do that with a receiver. You got to get to the level that we are at with these processors. But
I think if your surround speakers can handle it, you notice a big difference between cutting it at 80 hertz. Because if John Wick is shooting that shotgun in the back speaker, instead of it coming from all your subs, it comes from that speaker. Like you hear it. It's like boom, right behind your head.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I've always run surrounds at bass managed, and I didn't really see a problem with that. But I've never run surround speakers that have a lot of bass. Like I've got the RBH, the new. I don't even know what the model
do you got
number
now?
is. 821.
You got some killer surround speakers now.
Oh yeah, I've got dual 8s and the AMT, but those things play super loud. Like they hit reference level. Yeah.
But you don't have them across that 80 hertz. I know you don't.
I do.
What the fuck, dude?
I do.
They got dual 8s in them?
Yeah.
And they don't have good output down to 40?
Oh, they do. No, I would say down to 60 because they're only 4 inches deep and they're sealed. So you can't get a lot of low end bass even with those big drivers. You're just getting higher sensitivity in the usable area, but they're purposely made to hang on the wall. They don't take up a lot of space. Now I've got these speakers, these RBHs, the red ones, same woofers, 3/8 in there. They have a lot of bass because they have a huge box and they're tuned. They have 2 ports on the back, which incidentally, I'm the only one in the world right now with those speakers, and I can't talk really about them because they haven't officially announced them. And I've been waiting to do a virtual press event with them, and they just haven't gotten it together yet. So
the RBHs.
Yes, the red ones. Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I never.
You never got any, right? We got to get you some RBHs.
Never get back to me. You're like the you're like the sole spokesperson.
It's hard to get product from anybody right now, man.
Okay, so I just want to get it straight. You got dual 8s in your surround speakers, and you're just still cutting them off 80 hertz. I feel like you're missing out. Then I feel like you are.
Let me look. Let me look at my bass management.
You have like the second best processor next to mine.
The second best. Listen to him.
Come on, man.
Well, I will give you this much. The Trinov is definitely more field tested than. I don't know why I can't log into my processor. I must have the wrong IP. The Trinov is definitely more field tested than the Storm. The Storm is kind of newer, but it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, so does the Trinov. Growing potential. My wife, just like my wife says, it's got growing potential.
But I love the bass management in the Storm. I'm pretty sure I have them set. Oh, here it is. All right, we'll settle this right now. I'm logging in. I wish I could share my screen. Actually, I can, right?
Yeah, StreamYard.
All right, hold on a second. Let's share my screen. Okay, do you see?
Oh, yeah,
see my screen, right?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so power on. You could do this on the Trinov, right?
Yeah, the Storm took everything from the Trinov, of course.
Nice. Nice. So let's look at what we have here. So I got some pretty advanced bass management. I'm running my main speakers large with LFE routing.
First off, can you change that background to black?
What background?
That screen you're looking at.
I don't know. Why is it? You don't like the way it looks?
If you're in a home theater,
yeah. Understood.
You don't want that to be white. Listen,
yep.
Where's Storm at? I know they ignore me for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
That's a good question. I will look into. No, I have all my surrounds at 80 hertz, but this isn't final, anyways. I've been more focused on getting the front sound stage perfect.
There's a substantial amount of bass that comes out of surround channels, especially high.
You know what? I'll run the experiment for you. I'll run those at full range, and you tell me what movie clips to listen to, and we'll come back.
Ready Player One. Definitely Ready Player One. King Kong.
Ready Player One, yeah.
King Kong runs behind your head during that scene. There's a substantial amount of bass back there.
I mean, my sub should pick that up. I've got 2 subs in the listening area.
But you want to feel it behind your head.
I will. I do. Yeah. I've got a sub on my riser platform.
Well, you want to hear the foot stomps in those speakers going boom, 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 tracking.
But you're going to hear below 80 hertz is going to do much better with your sub than I think
you've been crossing over at 80 hertz for too long. Like, I don't think you quite understand the concept of getting that bass that moves from one surround speaker to the other one, like feeling it travel. Like you feel the travel instead of just hearing the travel. You feel the travel.
We could run that experiment. I'm open to it.
Yeah, I think you should do that.
I will definitely do that. And those speakers are capable. They're good. They're good down to at least 60 hertz.
So for you guys in the chat as well, listen, try to run your crossovers a little bit lower than 80 hertz. If you got Klipsch, then you might want to stick with 80 hertz. But if you got something a little bit better,
I'm going to lower my air conditioner. I'll be right back.
Then you might want to.
80 hertz talk is making me hot.
It's cold over here. I got my jacket on. Who we got in the chat today?
Okay.
Do you have any experience with Emotiva speakers? Says Gene, can you please let us know if Emotiva T2 Plus speakers and whole range of its speakers are better for home theater setup, and also is going all tower for LCR good?
So I haven't really checked out any of Emotiva's latest speakers, but I know that they've been received pretty well by the press. I'm sure they're okay. I mean, I don't know if Shane, have you had any of their
just their subs?
Yeah, how are their subs?
I would say a little bit better than average.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the speakers are good. LCR full range towers for the front 3 is good if you put them behind a screen, of course, that's awesome. But
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of using full range towers for surrounds because they tend to be too localized if they're at ear level, and most people have their chairs too close to those speakers anyway, and it just becomes distracting. That's just my experience with that.
Yeah. I've been thinking of hitting them up to get some Emotiva's speakers. I don't know. I like to have stuff that looks nice. I'm not attracted to them, so I feel like I've
I
always kind
tend
of
to
avoided
agree
them.
with you, and I'm not trying to diss them, but
Yeah.
I think too is some of the ugliest speakers, full range or tower speakers on the market, or like the Emotivas and like the
Yeah.
SBS Ultra. Like the Ultra, just it's like nails on a chalkboard when I see the shape of that cabinet. But I like the primes and I like the pinnacles. It's just and I'm not saying the Ultras are bad speakers. I just don't like the look of them.
Do they even have grills? I don't think I've ever seen an SBS speaker with grills on them.
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
did a review of the Ultra bookshelf, and I don't remember if they had a grill on them or not.
Every time I see speaker or pictures, especially like Facebook or something, they always
Ultra
don't have grills.
bookshelf. If they do, it'll be in my review because I would measure the speaker with and without the grill. Let me see if I can find my review. Bookshelf speaker review.
I mean, I kind of like the way like that trapezoid. Like, I get why they're doing it, but
they're not the first to do that, and I'm not the
Yeah.
first to criticize that look. So, like, I've seen other speakers. NHT kind of did some of that. You know what? There's no grills at all in my review
yeah, that's weird.
until the conclusion. They do have a grill.
Oh, they do have a grill.
Yeah. And I didn't measure it with and without the grill for some reason. Huh. But yeah, they do have a grill. I just barely used it.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what they look. Well, I get an idea what they would look like, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody post a picture with grills on. What shout out to Marco Esquindolas for $10 super chat. What tower speakers would you recommend for my home theater that are good for music, CDs, concert DVDs, plus movies? I've got a Marantz receiver and amps, SBS, plus Klipsch Pro Atmos. What would we recommend? It really depends. You guys can't be just dropping these kind of statements like, what would we recommend? Especially if you come on my channel, what am I going to recommend? It might not be within your budget. You should really attach a dollar amount to it.
He's a high roller.
This guy's got $4,000 headphones on, by the way.
Get some OSD.
Your headphones cost more than my Trinov.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I'm a fan of I would say get some Martin Logans. I'm a huge fan of Martin Logans. I love Martin Logan speakers.
What about Arundel sound, man? You turn me on.
Oh, yeah.
Arundel. I have to say it right. Arundel.
Arundel. Just like
that shit's the real. Those are awesome speakers, man. Really good.
I don't know if you guys have seen unboxings of the per listen speakers, but those are boxed exactly the same way as Arundel speakers. In case you guys have missed the connection there. But and also the build quality in both. Maybe the finish is different, but I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, the engineer behind both of those products and behind Monoprice stuff is he's an awesome dude. Really awesome. The guy's a brainiac of speakers. He's the real rock star in loudspeaker designers. I know you see some of the loudspeaker guys on YouTube are popular, like Andrew Jones and stuff, but man, that guy that's doing the stuff for Arundel,
what's his name? He
Dan
emailed me a couple times.
Dan Romer, yeah.
Is he American? It's gotta be.
I think so.
Yeah. Dan, yeah. Why is he not?
He's done driver work for Emotiva as well for their subwoofers.
Huh? For Emotiva?
Yep.
Not the
I
cabinet.
don't know which ones, but I know he's
cabinet though.
No,
not enclosures.
No. Yeah,
because if it is, he's really fucking coming back. What's Yeah, man, those you got them right. What are you
getting them? I'm getting the towers, and they're making me a custom center channel. I'm getting the S7 towers, S7T.
Those are like, I saw something where the guy put the towers behind his screen. I feel like those are not speakers you hide behind your screen.
I saw that picture. I don't know why it's a fad now where people are putting their speakers and their subwoofers behind this cavity in a wall and then putting a screen over it. You're creating so many acoustical problems doing that. And to take a speaker like the Paralisten, which is a beautiful speaker to begin with, and just to basically neuter it behind that it's criminal. It's like taking, a sports car and driving it in a neighborhood the whole time, never taking it out.
All right, now when you do that though, aren't there speakers specifically designed for that rather than just doing that?
Yes. That's called JTR. But you generally don't want to put your subs there. I mean, that's the problem, is the subs are off the floor, which is a negative right there. And then they're radiating inside of a larger enclosure, which is causing its own acoustical problems. And they're too close together, so you're not getting the advantage of multi-sub. You're not getting the modal density, the modal distribution.
Well, they got those ones from like Klipsch and Cricks. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a screen wall where it's like left,
false wall,
sub, center, sub, and it's like meant to be pieced together.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know how much money you got, Marco, but a rental sound definitely for sure. I mean, if you can, I don't know what the wait time is if you're going to order them, but they're an affordable speaker. They're fucking built like tanks.
They are, and they play loud. I mean, some of them are THX. Yeah,
I don't know why. I feel like I'm the one that brought some notoriety to those guys.
You totally did. I would have completely ignored that brand if it wasn't for your video, and I let them know that when I started talking to them. So,
and I think they've been blowing up lately. I've been seeing them pop up all over the place.
They are, because they're on my channel now. They're actually being seen.
Okay.
That's how it goes, my friend.
Okay. But drop the money, get some rental speakers. Let them know that you came from me, the originators.
You are the originator of that brand. I appreciate you bringing that knowledge to Audioholics.
I don't know, for the money, what beats those speakers?
Nothing. They're that good at that price category, in my opinion. Yeah.
And dude, they're not like normal speakers. They're like big freaking speakers.
Yeah.
They're like legit. I would still have them, but my room is too small for them.
Focal makes great speakers in that price, but they won't play as loud as the Arendals.
The Arias? It was Arias, right?
Yeah.
Come on, I've seen the Arias.
Yeah. They're not to that level, I'm sorry to say.
No, they're not. Especially their subwoofers when I do that review.
I don't understand what Focal's thinking, but the Europeans don't really often place a lot of emphasis on bass. So it's just different. It's like American muscle versus the European kind of take on sports cars. Well, I have a BMW, so I guess I'm in that camp as well.
Those rental subs that you guys reviewed. I reviewed them too. I liked them and all, but I wasn't like blown away.
Which one did you have, the 1723 or the 1961?
I had both. I did both. I couldn't get them. I don't know if it was the way they're designed with the opposing. I don't think so, but I just could never get them to couple with my room good enough.
I'm surprised, because the one with the dual drivers, their flagship, is actually a really good sub. I mean, it's not like it doesn't have the output of like that Monolith 16, but it's a much more compact form factor, and it's a much nicer cabinet, and it has a really awesome app. You could go and control.
Wait, the Arendal?
Yeah.
Oh, that's new then, because they didn't have it when I had it.
So maybe they've changed that the amp and the driver or something since you reviewed it. But
I remember it was gonna come out, but I had it like pre-production or something like that.
Who the heck is saying BMW is owned by Ford? What the heck? Really? No, they're not. I hope not.
What I don't know. I couldn't get those. I mean, I did the review, but I wasn't like blown away. They're very killer subs though, like fucking massive subs. I thought they were gonna like tear apart my windows, but I've had the Stark SW15 that you guys reviewed recently.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
That, I hate to be like that, outperformed the Arendal sub, but
no way, that's not15 man.
Dude, I got like down to 8 hertz.
Look at our measurement. Like, the Stark is a good sub. The 15-inch will meet our large room size recommendation, but the Arendal exceeds extreme.
Dude, I could not get those Arendals at all working.
It sounded like you just had an acoustic problem going on in there. But yeah, that Stark is not even in the league of that Arendal.
Dude, I was getting like 8 hertz with that. I mean, was it 8 hertz? Maybe.
Well, because it's a sealed sub and you were getting coupling in your room.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying. That's why I don't measure like you guys do. I don't do like fucking scientific shit. I just do what I do in my room. Like, this is what it sounds like in my room. I put a disclaimer, and in my
Yeah,
room,
someone just noted that Rendell's increasing their prices. Everybody is, but you know
everybody
what?
is.
Stark Audio is actually going to have a sale on the Audiaholics channel pretty soon. So
On
they're
spare
one of the
change
few
too.
companies. Yeah, they're one of the few companies that are not right now raising their prices. So
Yeah, that's good. Probably because they're. I don't want to say anything, but yeah, the get the Rendell sound, Marco. Rendell sound. Like I said, I'm also a fan of Martin Logan. If you want to stay
the Motion
relatively
60s
easy
are good
yet,
speakers. You ever hear the Motion
yeah,
60s?
yeah, yeah, great speakers. I've been rocking the Slims, the SLMs, for
Oh,
years.
okay.
The on wall ones.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, I
basically
heard
Motion
those are good.
60s on the wall. There's the
Yeah,
same things on the wall.
Don told me about those. He said they're really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean Martin Logan's often overlooked, but they make some nice speakers. They make good subs too. The Balance Force are
Balance Force.
incredible subs.
Is it my favorite sub? I'm gonna say
They're 12 years old.
Are they that old?
Yeah, they're due for like an update. Not that you need it because those are really good
No,
subs to begin with.
yeah, I did the Balance Force 12s a couple months ago, and there was like still like one of my favorites, one of the best performing subs I've had.
They are really good subs.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but they're really good.
Nah, they're like 45 a piece.
Yep.
The only thing I didn't like about them, I didn't say it in the video, but that little enclosure there with the controls,
Mhm.
there's like a really cheap plastic they put with the label on it, and it was like bubbling up. I was like, oh, that's not weird.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like cost cutting or something like that. I don't know what they were doing.
So what about getting some JTRs in there, Shane?
So next question here we have from Griffin X, $5 super chat. Listen, super chats are welcome. You want to get your question answered sooner rather than later, or definitely get it answered. Drop us a super chat. Support the channel. Support me and Gene. More me because it's my channel.
Absolutely.
But the question is, recently I purchased the Fury HD Vroom 8K. Just want to extend my Yamaha 3060 as I'm upgrading with eARC. It seems to fix lots of bugs. Thoughts? Gene, your thoughts on the Fury HD Vroom?
I honestly don't even know what that is.
So the Fury HD Vroom, I don't even know why you bought that to extend your. Oh, I guess he bought it to 3060. Yeah, I don't know why would you buy that to extend the Yamaha 3060. So, I don't know. You're gonna have to elaborate that a little bit more there, Griffin X. Maybe
yeah, sorry, I don't really. Is it an HDMI extender? Is he trying to do his switching outside of the receiver?
I mean,
that way he doesn't have to upgrade his receiver. I'm not really sure what that is. Sorry.
The 3060 is what, 2 years old?
Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what is he? Maybe he's putting his video game system into it or something.
Yeah, because it's the 3060 is probably HDMI 2.0 at the best.
But still, I mean, if you're just watching movies, then the 3060 is totally fine.
You shouldn't need it.
Yeah, I don't know why you would need that. Unless that's doing something. I don't know. Maybe elaborate more, Griffin XZ. But we read your super chat. Thank you for that. Thinking of purchasing. This is from Graham Todd. Thinking of purchasing a 2-channel amp for our Oppo 205. Any suggestions? Currently running through mid-range. What? All right. So he wants a 2-channel amp for the Oppo.
So you're using the Oppo as a preamp? Because you can do that, by the way.
Can you do that?
Yeah, it has variable outputs, and you can configure it like that. I actually tested the Oppo 205 and measured it as a preamp, and it's pretty freaking good, man.
Oh yeah.
It's just you got to be. It even has video switching, so you could plug in a cable box into one of the HDMI inputs, and you could actually use it as a preamp. The bass management's not as good as a receiver, but you know.
I would assume you got to go through the menus to raise and lower the volume.
It's on the remote. There's a volume control if you set it. Yeah. It's not what I would recommend because it's so easy to just accidentally blast that and then turn it on and be blown out. You know, it doesn't have like you can't save the volume setting that you used last or have it turn on at a certain volume. It's just I wouldn't use it as a preamp. But it sounds like he's using a receiver and just needs more amplification for it.
What's this question? What is the Listen, I reached out to Klipsch, all right? Whoever that young lady is with the blonde hair. I
You're
did
talking
reach
about the redhead, actually, right?
Oh, she read? Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's why she's not answering you.
I did reach out to Klipsch, just so you guys know. I don't know why you guys don't even think I like Klipsch. We have a video on the channel where we did a Klipsch rant, but I'm not the one that ranted about Klipsch. It was my guest who ranted about Klipsch. Okay.
Oh, nice.
I did reach out to I'm sure they saw the video. That's why.
Jill
Jill
Yeah.
Escol. Yeah. I'm 100% sure they saw the video, but that has nothing to do with me. I did reach out to them because I wanted those Klipsch THXs. I don't know if they still make them, but it's on the website.
Those are old.
Boy, they still look fucking badass. And
they were good. Yeah, they're a good speaker.
Nobody has an official video in the 2 decades they've been out. So I wanted to get them. And listen, she never got back to me. Everybody has these RFs and RFI, whatever they're called. The cheap ones they sell at Best Buy. Everybody has those. Okay.
Yeah.
You know they're cheap when you put the knuckle test on them and they're less than a 1/4 inch thick. They're like, I don't even know what thickness.
But you know, there's a crossover guy that can make that all better.
There is a crossover guy. You can put some special cabling on there and braid them,
make them sound better. Make it all better.
Get rid of that resonance and everything just through the crossover and some cables. So
enclosures
don't matter.
What about JTR, man? You know, you should definitely hit them up. I think you would like them.
I did hit up JTR a couple of years ago. It's on a podcast. You can listen to the podcast. I talk about that on my podcast. It's on Anchor, Apple Podcast. You can hear me talk about that as well. So that's on there somewhere. Gene, why do you think Arundel towers are 2.5 way versus 3-way? What's the rationale for it?
There's a lot of different reasons why companies go 2.5 way like that. Sometimes it's for cost.
What is 2.5 versus 3?
So a 3-way would have a separate bass section, separate mid-range, separate tweeter, whereas a 2.5 way will have, you know, the woofers one of the woofers will play just bass, and then the other woofer will play bass and mid-range. And the advantage there is you get more sensitivity because you have 2 drivers doing the same bandwidth, sharing the same bandwidth, and then one of them is only doing a narrow bandwidth, so you have better lobing pattern. You're not getting the comb filtering that you would get by having multiple drivers play up higher in frequency. I wouldn't say that a 3-way is always better than a 2.5 way, because some of the really good speakers out there are 2.5 way. The JBL HDI series are really good speakers. Those are 2.5 way. There's just different reasons why manufacturers choose to do what they do. So what really matters at the end of the day is how the speaker measures and then how it sounds.
Thanks for the question there, Ryan Chip. And then Sammy Debs, $2 super sticker.
I've never seen a super sticker. That's cool.
Me either. Is there a sticker somewhere? Because I'm not seeing a sticker anywhere pop up.
You must have that as an option or something.
Yeah. What does the sticker look like? Is it like a clown or something? I don't know. Geo Weirs, get the Klipsch, get the THX Klipsch. I have the in-walls and love them. Even if you trash it, there is no content about it. Oh,
so let's have a contest. I'll contact Klipsch and I'll ask him for a sample. You contact them, see who they get it to first, and we'll see if we get the review done first.
And then either way, it comes to me anyways to review. How's that?
Yeah, then you don't finish the review like you did with Focal.
I got them.
I've been waiting.
I've been going down my box. I don't know if you've been paying attention to my channel, but I've been going down all those little stuff lately. And then I have to get them because they're sitting on my floor, like laying down horizontally on my floor. Mm-hmm. I'm using them as footrests in my theater.
Oh, that's nice. Using a pair of $3,000 or $4,000 speakers as footrests. I think they're more than that. Which ones do you have?
Yeah, they ain't cheap. My wife was like, "What's the speakers doing on the floor?" I said, "You can't put up the footrest. Just use them." She's like, "Oh, those are the big ones?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are they expensive?" I'm like, "I guess for some people."
For some people, what a baller, man.
But I did raise them the other night because I set them up. I set up the center channel and I set up the left and rights, and it's going to be a 3.2 system. Just so you guys be on the lookout for Audioholics when I do that review. It's going to be the cant to threes, cant to center, to the sub 100s, sub 10s.
That's like $20,000 worth of speakers there.
Is it $20,000?
The Canta 3s are at least 15, I would imagine, right?
I don't even,
Yeah,
I don't
and you're
even,
using
I
them
don't
as
remember.
footrest. That's
I don't even remember. I'm gonna edit this part out of the video. Jessica might see this, be like, "What is he doing?" Beautiful speakers though. Listen, if you're gonna rest your feet on some wood, I don't know what kind of wood they are, but they're nice, mahogany or something like that. They're very, be on the lookout for that. But I think the THX in walls he's talking about is different than the ones I'm talking about.
It might be the equivalent, just in a flush mount.
Maybe. I don't know, because I think those Klipsches, I think those THX ones came out when M&K came out, like 20 years ago.
We actually have a written review of the Klipsch THX speakers. Let me look up when.
Did you?
Yeah,
that's a long time ago. Yeah,
I'll put a link in here. Hold on.
The THX Ultras.
Yeah, it's the ones with the big horn and the two mids on the side. So we reviewed that speaker back in 2006, dude. You were like still in diapers then, man.
They've been around for that long. Wow.
Hold on. Yeah, they've been out that long. Can I share a link? I can't share a link.
Yeah, put it in the.
I'll put it in the comments, and you want
to.
Yeah, hold on. No, I can't go in. It won't let me chat in the comments. I'll do it in private chat, and then you can share.
Oh yeah. Where's the private chat?
So yeah, we did that review back in 2006. That's how old I am, man. I've been doing this stuff for way too long, and I'm sure they're not $10,000 for the system anymore. They probably went way up since then.
Way up, you said?
Yeah, I would imagine they're not the same price anymore.
Here we go. Paste. Oops.
Yeah, it's a pretty thorough review here. This guy that wrote it for us.
They still look cool.
They do.
It's a cool looking system. Like I would own those. I would own that if it sounded good, for sure.
Yeah.
Gene or spare change. Gene or Shane. I'm on the fence. What do you think about Monolith amps versus Emotiva? Which one should I buy? Getting ready to buy next week, looking for a 7-channel amp.
Buy the one that's in stock. Because it's really hard right now to get amplifiers.
Don't ask me. I'm a fucking audio elitist. I would never buy a Monoprice product, but unless it's
why do you have cable? Why do you get strung on labels, man? The stuff that Monoprice is doing is not the Monoprice brand from like their cheap cables. They have ATI behind
ATI.
Their amplifiers.
I get it. I know who
ATI makes incredibly good amplifiers.
Why do I get it? Because all right, I'm going to explain my
You're
audio.
A snob, dude. You're a freaking snob.
I am partially a snob for sure, 100%. I have no qualms about that. I'll tell you about it. I've grew up. I've owned Kenwood AVRs. I've owned Sony AVRs, Sony speakers, Kenwood speakers, Onkyo home theater in the boxes, Pioneer home theater in the boxes, all the cheap stuff.
Okay, so now you're compensating.
All the inexpensive entry level stuff. I've moved up mid level, Marantz, blah blah blah, whatever. Then on all the mid range stuff. In my later life, now that I've worked hard enough, where I used to look from afar when I was listening to my Pioneer and Onkyo and Integra, I used to be like, Parasound, amazing, Rotel or Macintosh. I was like, man, one of these days I would have that stuff. Monoprice stuff has always been available, or ATI stuff. Even though I would classify that as Macintosh stuff as well. Parasound,
because the ATI stuff's not pretty.
No. There's being pretty than having pretty yet being industrial. ATI was always that too. I would put them in the Parasound camp. ATI and Parasound, the same stuff. And then below that, I'd put like Denon Marantz and all that. So my travels from beginning to middle to end wouldn't include the Monolith Monoprice stuff.
But your audience would be interested in hearing your opinion on them, because your audience are now.
My channel is not about them. My channel is about me.
It's all about you.
My channel is about me. Okay.
Damn.
My channel is about me. If there was Why do you think? Why do you think there really is no Klipsch? It's not like I can't get Klipsch on the channel. I can get Klipsch. I can get SVS on the channel.
But you don't want to be like everybody else. I'm the same way. Like, okay, when I buy a car, I don't want the same car everybody else has. I always look for kind of obscure cars when I buy, at least for myself. My wife, she'll want a Honda Odyssey or whatever, like everybody else has as a family. But me, I go for, I had an Acura TL Type S 2007. Nobody had that car in blue. I was the only one in the state of Florida that I saw. Yeah. Then I got the BMW M240i in orange. I've never seen another one of those in the same color. I don't want to be like the Joneses. I don't want to have the same thing everybody else has. So I get that mentality. But at the same time,
okay, here we go.
There are people that like to eat Cheerios, and there are people that like Budweiser, which I don't drink Budweiser, by the way. So you got to at least review that.
I drink Budweiser.
See, now you're unrefined when it comes to beer. Now I can make fun of you. I pee Budweiser when I drink a real beer. How do you like all these expensive audio things and then you go drink a Budweiser? That's insulting.
It's usually after I drink my Macallan. I drink all the good stuff.
Oh, all right. So then
I gotta wash it down with that. It's like my chaser.
Yeah.
But listen. I got no problems with anybody that owns Monolith amps or Emo. I own Emotiva. I own Emotiva. My second system is an entire Emotiva system. So I mean, if we're talking about like going from Trinov to Emotiva, which is total opposite spectrum, I think in the price category, I got them both. But that being said, I felt like growing up, I've worked my way up to where I wanted to be towards the end. And
towards the end, are you cashing out soon?
No, not maybe once you cash out, maybe I'll cash out, but
it might be sooner than you think.
But I feel like, listen, if you're on my channel, you're on my audio journey, whether it's little cheap little projectors, or listen, if I'm in home theater, if I'm talking home theater stuff, I want home theater stuff that I would want to own. I don't think I've reviewed anything I wouldn't want to own that was like super cheap and inexpensive. I'm making that sound like a douche.
Well, with that being said, I can tell you this much: I've measured the Monolith amplifiers, and
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm not attracted to that. I'm not attracted to that whatsoever.
Okay, you're not attracted.
You could be a beautiful woman.
So you should go get the Past Labs amplifier that I reviewed like 8 years ago. The thing was $11,000. It weighed like 125 pounds.
Does it have the porthole?
Yes, the big porthole on it, the giant fins. It's actually a decent amp, not for $11,000. You're about to see. I'm going to do a video that kind of compares different amplifiers I measured over the years.
Yeah.
When I was driving those things with some bass heavy music on my Status ATs, the front of the whole faceplate was dimming, because they didn't use a big enough toroid in an $11,000 amplifier. But that amplifier looked beautiful. I had the Class A CT2300 right next to it. Half the price, industrial looking. People would come over and be like, I want to hear that amp, the Past Labs, not the Class A. Meanwhile, the Class A sounded better. It was way more powerful into forum loads, much lower distortion. And the people that weren't like listening with their eyes like you do, actually preferred in a controlled test. They preferred the better amplifier. You listen with your eyes. Let's just be honest. You listen with your eyes.
I've done reviews where the cheaper ones always won. I've done several stereo reviews.
The only review I saw you do that with was chicken sandwiches. You were reviewing Wendy's versus fucking McDonald's, and you like tasted these 3 different sandwiches, and you came to this conclusion that Wendy's still makes the best chicken sandwich. That's the only time I remember you doing that.
That's a different channel, okay? It's not a spreadsheet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I saw on YouTube when I typed in Shane's reviews, and it was chicken sandwiches.
There's been several stereo.
Can I just be you for a minute?
Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, I got the vocals. I just think they're a little bit bright. They're just a little bit bright. I think they're okay. They're a good flavor.
They are.
They're just a little bit bright. They're a little bit bright.
This is what happens when somebody listens to the speaker instead of measuring them.
I will tell you this much. I'll be the first to admit. How old are you?
How old do you think I am? I'm not that much younger than you.
I figured you're in your 30s.
Come on, buddy. No, I'm Asian.
You're older?
Yeah.
I mean, you look like you're 15, but I figured you're in your 30s.
Mm-mm.
Your 40s?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I was going to compliment you and say you probably have better hearing than me now because I just turned 48 and I don't hear like I did when I was in my 20s. I'll be the first to admit it. You won't see reviewers saying that because you'll see these guys that are 80 years old that are still reviewing product and they can't hear past 5 kilohertz. But if you're hearing something that I'm not hearing, I'm not discounting it. It's possible you have better hearing than I do. It's possible that you have different taste than I do.
We need to fucking make a video together with a few different speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see what the result is.
Why don't you fly up to my place? I could set up all the speakers and we could do a listening panel.
We'll do that. My wife wants to go to Florida soon.
In a few months, I'm going to have the Paralistons. I've got the Rebels right here. I've got the RBHs. I've got the Paradigm Founders. I've literally got the stuff you can't get because your channel's not big enough to get these kind of brands on it. You come over to my place and we'll use your golden ears and we'll do a listening comparison.
Okay. I'm going to bring my $6,000 AudioQuest cables and then we'll do a listening comparison.
Just make sure that the connectors don't break off in my amplifier.
I know that's going to be a good one. I want to do that 100%. My wife did say she wants to. We have been looking at houses. Florida did pop up though. Florida did pop up, yeah.
Why don't you guys come down? You're welcome to stay. I got a guest room. I got some Bowers and Wilkins speakers in there. I'm sure you'll love them. Actually,
was that a shot?
They're not bad. I got the 703S2s, the little ones.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be like garbage, because they don't measure that great. In that room, I cannot believe how good those speakers sound.
Come on, see? You're proving my point right here. Just because something doesn't measure perfectly doesn't mean.
There's things that can still sound good when they don't measure good. But the reality is it's better when you have something that measures well and it sounds good too. I mean, you got to realize you're listening in one area. You're one person listening to one pair of speakers. You have a small sample size and a small acoustical space. But if you measure a speaker anechoically, then you could predict that speaker will work good in more rooms rather than just one golden room.
But what is the percentile of it measuring perfectly in that anechoic chamber, then that translating well? Yeah,
there's actually a lot of science to that. Harman has a 86% correlation between how a speaker measures.
That's not 100% though.
That's like really good.
That's like Jim Carrey.
Most correlations in medicine.
That's like Jim Carrey saying, what'd she say? She was like, he said something like, "So you're saying there's a chance?" Remember that? Dumb and Dumber.
Yep. That's been a long time since I've seen that.
Great movie. I fucking love that movie. Dumb and Dumber. Watch it. You guys
just the first one. They made a sequel, I think, and it wasn't good, right?
Yeah, don't watch that one.
Yeah.
But just going back to what you said though. Just because
the Bowers and Wilkins have a notch at 2 kilohertz on most of their speakers. It's a big dip at 2K, but you know what? I have a dip in my hearing at 2 kilohertz, so maybe that's why I like the speaker because I don't notice it. But they deliberately do it because it gives, according to what they say, it gives more presence to the sound of the speaker. And they do sound. I put them up against, the Dyne Audio Heritage, the bookshelf. Those, I think
you didn't like them. They're like my favorite speaker right now.
They were not impressive to me at all. I put them up against the Bowers and Wilkins, and I even had RBH over, the guy that designs the speakers, and he sat down. We listened to him. He goes, "I actually like the Bowers and Wilkins. I don't care for the Dyne Audios." But that's always been my experience with Dyne Audios. You look at a Dyne Audio speaker, and they look beautiful. The drivers look beautiful. They're incredibly crafted. They use good parts.
I think they're ugly.
I don't think they're ugly. I thought the Dyne Audio Heritage are actually pretty attractive, but they're $6,000 for a pair of bookshelves, and they weren't that. They were good, but I've had bookshelf speakers that were better for less money.
This goes back to you saying, "Listen, I'm only want some shit that's attractive." Those are I think those are ugly speakers.
Okay, let's be honest. You got those speakers because you saw that I had them.
I had them first. Everybody can watch my review.
Not have them first.
Yes, I did.
I had those like 5 months ago. They were sitting in a box. I never even opened them. I sent you a picture, and then like 3 months later, it just magically shows up on your channel.
Guys, you guys can go back and watch my review. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I love those speakers. I use them. I was using them today. I think they're amazing speakers.
Well, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with them because once I finally hooked them up, they want the guy that lent them to me is like, I need them back. I'm doing a dealer training. I'm like, all right. So I didn't get a chance to review them, but
I think they're better than the Cantor 3s.
Oh, you're freaking smoking. Whatever you're smoking, man, I need some of that right now.
Like, well, they're a little bit bright. They're just a little bit bright. The Dynaudios, they're not so bright. They're much more smooth.
They are definitely smoother than the Cantor 3s. No doubt about that. And they're soft dome. They're not even beryllium. Soft dome tweeters.
Yeah.
So when people say, Shane, you're an a-hole because if it doesn't go over a certain dollar amount, you're not going to like it. That's not true. Dynaudios rock.
Most of the time.
Dynaudios rock. Damn, lost my train of thought. Okay, what's the next question here? What were you talking about here? Geez, Monolith. Oh, Monolith versus Emotiva. Which one should I buy? Getting ready to buy next week.
Look, they're both reputable brands. They both whatever you can get your hands on right now is the key. I haven't tested the Gen 3s Emotivas, but some of the measurements when they first came out didn't look that great when they switched to that SMPS, but I'm hoping that was like 4 years ago. Maybe they've gotten it better since then. But I do know that Monoprice has amplifiers that are time tested with ATI. They work good, they sound good, and they're coming out with a Hypex version, which is one of the best Class D amps on the market. I don't know when those are coming out, but maybe in the next few months, and they're going to be around $3,000 for a fully loaded amp that's 200 watts by 7 and it's Class D. So I might hold off and see what happens there, because Class D is good enough now to replace AB. And in my primary theater room, I'm using all Class D. I've got the Pascal amplifiers from Storm, and they are freaking awesome. And they don't heat up my room, which is important in Florida. You're probably running Class D in your theater room, right? You're using the Trinov amps?
Macintosh, man. Come on.
Oh,
come on, buddy.
1976 called, Shane.
Come on, buddy. What's going on here?
You're all about being a baller.
What's going on? I thought about doing the Trino, but then I was like, you know what? Why settle?
Why settle?
I love Trino, by the way. I'm a fucking big. I'm like one of the big
you're
spokespersons.
a Trino fanboy.
I am a fanboy. If in case you guys haven't noticed, there's been a lot more Trino activity in the past few months.
Yeah, I mean, every other week there's a Trino video on your website. You know,
not on mine, but everybody else's, because
he's the Trinov pimp master.
Novalicious says someone better. Oh wait, I feel like I'm sorry. There's another super chat here that popped up. Answer super chats first. You don't pay super chat, you don't get your question answered. Walberto. That's an interesting name, buddy.
That is.
My wife is Hispanic. I've never seen that name before. Walberto Rivas. $20. Waiting for my Anthem AVM 70 to be installed sometime in March, but I got Emotiva XP-A9 to run SVS Pinnacles. You were talking shit about those SVSs earlier, Gene.
No, not the Pinnacles.
Martin Logan MC6 is HT in ceiling for Atmos at 75 watts. Is 65 watts enough to get the base X4 to push 100 watts to them?
So that's one thing I don't like about when you get the fully loaded Emotiva amp.
Yeah,
it's like you get 200 watts for your base level speakers, and then you get 65 watts for the Atmos.
Yeah.
I personally, that's, yes, it could get by, but why would you want to limit yourself? You want separates to have more power than a receiver, and now you just restricted yourself on the Atmos channels. So that's the one advantage that the Monolith amplifier has. The 9-channel is, I think it's 200 watts for the front 3 and then 100 watts for the rest. So, I mean, the difference between 60 watts and 100 watts is 2.5 dB. It's not a huge deal, but I don't know. I'm a little bit anal retentive or OCD, and I like to have more power than I probably need. So if it doesn't sound like it's distorting, I guess you're okay. But bass manage those speakers. Don't do like Shane and run every speaker full range. You might be
listen,
okay.
I think I did that review for the XPA 11. I think there's
Mhm.
11, right? And I
Yeah.
ran everything full range. Like, why wouldn't you? Just to see if there was a difference. And yeah, there was a difference. I mean, the timbre changes a bit when you're running shit full range. And it was like big time amps up front, left, center, right, and then AVR power in the back. So I mean, I guess it depends on your budget, whatever you think, but
There he goes with his budget thing again. If it
I'm
was
just
up
saying,
to
man.
if it was up to Shane, it'd be all Macintosh amps, mono blocks on every channel,
If I could, I would.
and a nuclear power plant to run it.
But would you go for the XPA 9? No, go with a couple XPA 5s because they're
Yes,
like
I
200.
would do two separate amps. Yep.
Yeah, do that. Don't get
Or
listen.
go
It even looks better when you have two separate amps. Okay,
or go with the Storm amplifier. That's 16 channels, 200 by 16. I mean, it's
Is
not
it
cheap.
200 by 16?
Yeah, but
Is that what you got?
Yes. I'm only using
With
like 10
was
of
that
the
a 5U?
I think so. Maybe 4
or is it
5.
Or is it a 2U?
No, it's not a 2U, and it's hard to get those speakers on the back because those connectors are like right next to each other, man. There's so many connectors on a 16 channel amp.
Interesting. Okay.
It's not up to your Macintosh standard, I'm sure.
Okay.
You know, your 50% efficient amplifier.
I haven't done that review in a year. I gotta do it.
Which one?
My Macintosh review.
Oh, okay.
I would be the only one. I don't know why people don't review Macintosh. What's the deal? What's the situation here? That's why I haven't done it, because I was like, nobody's doing it, so why should I do it?
Because Macintosh is like for 60-plus-year-old men.
This fucking baller status. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody can afford a
Dude, you got another super sticker. I don't get this super sticker thing.
Sammy Debs. Thanks, Sammy Debs. Sammy Debs is one of my favorite, one of my longtime subscribers. Appreciate that. Listen, you come on late at night over here. We're not being all nice and.
Shane's going to be cutting out 80% of this video, I'm sure.
What you talking about? Listen, I've been very cordial about every brand we've been talking about.
True.
Dwayne Harris. After all these years, I've listened to Never Heard Gene Be So Funny. See that?
It's because Shane is so boring that it actually makes my character come alive. I need you as my anti-muse.
Hold on, I'm reading this wrong. After all these years, I've listened to Gene. I've never heard Gene be so funny. He's saying you're funny tonight.
Because of you, man, because you're not funny. So by you not being funny and being elitist, it makes me have some personality. See, you're bringing my personality alive.
I'm bringing your personality out to match my personality.
Right,
right. Well, what class damp to buy for home theater?
I don't know. Shane doesn't believe in Class D.
I said the NAD M33 sounded better than the Denon.
Yeah. Oh, which one? The Purifi one? The one with the Purifi amp? Yeah, that is state of the art. So they make a version.
I got shit about that review.
You what?
I got some shit about that review because everybody thought the Denon PM whatever was going to be better than the NAD.
The PMA 110, the one I have.
The one that I have too? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not a better amp than what's in the NAD.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So my hearing is not like crappy.
Yeah, that's what I do trust your hearing. I think you have good hearing. The NAD makes a 7-channel version of that amp. I think it's the M28 or the M33.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know which one it is, but so it's 200 watts by 7 using that module. If you guys could afford that amp, that's the amp I would put in my theater room if I wasn't using the Pascal stuff from Storm.
I still feel a little weird. Like they're so light. Like I felt like that NAD shouldn't have been better sounding than the Denon.
Because the Denon is prettier and it's heavier because it's heavier too, Class AB. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad amp. I think it's a very good sounding 80 watt per channel amp.
Yeah.
But the NAD is and it's not because of NAD, it's because of Purifi. It's the guys that made that amp. NAD was smart to license that technology and put it into their chassis.
Yeah,
And
we
I guess
picked it
give
up.
NAD credit for having a good power supply in there, because Purifi doesn't make a power supply yet.
Yeah, because the fella I had over here, Bill, he was like, "Oh no, this is better." He's like, "The Denos is better." I was like, "Why?" Because you feel it. It feels like money. I was like, "I don't know." I said, "Let's listen to it." And
Feel
he
it in
goes,
terms of like the picking it up.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a mistake when you go and judge a product by its look or weight. And I do think there's value to the when you're listening to a speaker. I know like Harman's like everything's got to be blind, which I understand if you want to remove biases, but at the end of the day, if somebody prefers that red speaker over there over the brown one because it looks better, that factors into when you own a product, right? I mean, you should do blind and sided tests. And if that product's always winning in a sided test, that means your better performing blind speaker is too freaking ugly, and you need to make it better looking, make it more appealing. Because don't you think when you set the mood in your room, like if I get the lights low down and I just get ambient light in the background, to me, music sounds way better like that than if I have all these lights on above me. I just can't focus on the sound when I have all that visual stimulation.
I get upset when I get a speaker in and I just love the way it looks. And then I listen to another speaker and it doesn't sound as good as the ugly one. I'm like, fuck, I got to find some ways to make this better. Like, I don't understand why it doesn't sound good. Like, that's me. Like, I think the better looking one and the more expensive one should be better. But that's not always the case.
No,
that's why I was so upset when the Kenta 3s was not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Well, we like the Kenta too, so I'm surprised. You know, I haven't heard them much. Don took them and he's got them at his place. I haven't seen them since, but I did like them when I brought them in here. I thought they sounded really good.
I think those have the new beryllium tweeters over the Super 2s.
Yeah.
And I had those Super 2s for a long time, for about almost a year. So I'm very familiar between the songs. I listened to only 5 songs on rotation, just so I know, very familiar. I was like, man, these Kenta 3 is just not doing it. They're just not fucking doing it.
Right. They're just a little
not doing it. And then I read all the reviews. I was like, let me just verify my claims. And they were all the opposite of what I thought.
Yeah. Well, first of all, don't read other people's reviews when you're evaluating a product, because then that will bias what your outcome will be too. You know, try to stand on your own. Don't be so insecure.
I wasn't. That's why I said what I said. I was the opposite of everybody else. And I was just like, fuck, I said, we're going to look like assholes because we're saying the opposite of what everybody said. They're warm speakers.
Yeah.
We're just like, they're not warm
speakers.
Dude,
I've been on the punching list for forum fanboys for many years back, maybe about 15 years ago when Pioneer first started doing the ICE amplifiers and their receivers. I went and I got, I think it was the SC07 receiver, and I measured it, and the thing could not handle a forum load. Like it would power protect at like 40 watts. I was like, okay, maybe this is a measurement anomaly, because on the bench, it's different than when you're driving a real speaker. Well, then I went and I put forum speakers on it, and I was shutting the thing off. So I put this in the review. I said, this is a good receiver if you're using 8-ohm speakers, but if you have any speaker that has low impedance at high frequencies is where the problem was. Above 3 kilohertz, the thing could not drive 4 ohms. I put that in the review. I got bashed left and right by people on AVS forum calling me things I can't repeat on your channel without YouTube doing a strike or whatever. For months, I was getting bashed that I don't know what I'm doing. You can't test Class D amplifiers the same way you test Class AB. It's a totally different category of product. They were all full of shit. It's not true. You should be able to test any class of amplifier the same way, with the only exception being you'd have to bandwidth limit the Class D. Otherwise, it'll do induced distortion into the test gear, which is because back then those amplifiers were switching at a lower frequency, and it would just overload the test gear, and you would get way worse distortion than reality. So aside from that, you should still be able to test full bandwidth, even if it's Class D. So then, like about 6 months after that review came out, I'm in an elevator at CES or CEDIA, I think it was CES, and this group of Pioneer guys come into the elevator, and they're all looking at me, and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna get into a street fight with Pioneer or whatever, right? I don't know what I'm like tensing up, ready to fight. And then one of the guys comes up to me, he goes, Eugene De La Sala? I go, yeah. He starts shaking my hand. He goes, I just want to thank you for that review you did on our receiver. I go, oh, really? I go, what did you like about it? He goes, I like the fact that you exposed the weakness on how this amplifier can't drive 4 ohms. We now, as engineers, took this back to marketing and said we need to change it. And then the next generation came out and they went with their D3 module, which was not the ICE module, it was their own. So, I mean, sometimes, you know, you got to stick with your guns when you're right and post it and hope that people appreciate what you do. But sometimes, Shane, they hate us because they ain't us.
That's what I say, dude. That's what I say. Whatever. It's weird because like the biggest channels get like, it seems like they always praise everything. I don't know.
They do. Yeah. There's a lot of marketing that goes on, and that always kind of gets under my skin. I like to look for things that are real. Nothing's perfect. I mean, God, I've had every product in this house, and I could always tell you that there's something that's not 100%, even about the best products. So
that's why I used to hate doing 2-channel reviews. Till I remember you used to ask me all the time, "You want to review this 2-channel?" I'm like, "No," because I don't want to sound like a fucking douche nozzle like all these other guys.
But now you've become the quintessential douche nozzle. So start doing 2-channel reviews for Audioholics.
We got the Cantas coming up, man. The Cantas coming up. Come on.
Yeah.
I think, listen, this is what I think, that if you're doing a 2-channel review, I really think you should have something else next to it. I feel like there should always be a comparison.
So you need like a kind of like a golden unit or a kind of a
just like a comparison, just whatever it is. Like if I like every time I watch a review, no matter who it is,
you need something to bench it against.
Yeah, because if somebody's like, "Oh, I'm reviewing the Denon against," but then I think this Denon sounded like the 2-channel amp that I reviewed 5 years ago, and I think this one sounded better. I'm like, how would you fucking know that? You wouldn't remember that. There's no way you could remember that.
No, it's a valid point. You should have a reference. That's why I always have a reference. I have my amplifier. I always pick like the best product that I can get and keep it. Like up here, I've got the Anthem STR. That's a great amp. Is it the best amp in the world? No, but it's a very competent amp. Is the Purifi amp better? Yeah, it doesn't put as much power as this one. But if I want to really make sure, if I'm measuring an amplifier and it comes out like shit, I'll go back and I'll measure the good amplifier, the Anthem, and I should be able to get the same measurements I got 5 years ago when I reviewed it. So it's good. Same thing. If you listen to an amplifier and it sounds bad, put your golden unit on, put the one it sounds good, just to make sure there's something else not going on.
Yeah, because when we were doing it, we were just like, listen, we don't have any numbers like Gene would have. We would have this one. Even if we didn't like it, we would say, well, as a comparison's sake, this is what it sounds like. Either it's a little bit brighter, or it's not brighter, or it's darker, chocolatier, or it's not. There's more sparkle on this one. Maybe it's not so much sparkle on this one. That way, there's like a give and take between each one. I think I think there was maybe like one review that we did recently that we were just like, we couldn't really tell a difference between this one expensive one, this other one. I can't remember what it was, but I know it was pretty recent. We were just like, fuck, I was like, what the fuck do we say? Because it doesn't really sound different. Yeah.
I am concerned for you sometimes because you do get disillusioned about cables. So that's the one thing I kind of worry about.
You know what? Listen, we definitely coming down there sometime in 2022. Because she wants to go to like Disney Star Wars World or something like that.
I know. I want to see that. I haven't gone to that yet.
I'm going to bring my AudioQuest cable. And we're going to swap it out with the Kimber.
Okay.
And I'm going to bring the Monoprice with me too. I got Monoprice here too. If you can, I know you have a capable system. I know you got a capable system.
You're not going to hear a difference in any of the cables unless the AudioQuest is picking up noise again, like the one I measured. With those batteries, that's the most ridiculous thing. How could you not be embarrassed having that guy on there bullshit you about the battery technology? That guy was talking so much shit out of his ass. Sorry to say,
if that noise
so bad,
if that noise makes me think it sounds better, then that's what it's doing.
So like 3 megahertz noise oscillating, you actually think you can hear that?
All I know is when we did the sighted test, we heard differences. We're like, wow, that sounds different. We're just like, oh, that sounds different. We're like, fuck, that sounds different. But we knew we were listening to. So we let that.
Well,
we
there's your
let that
problem
be
right there.
known. We let that
When
be
you're
known.
comparing something that has very little difference or no difference at all, and you're doing it sighted, you're allowing the placebo effect to judge what you're hearing.
We'll see when I come down there.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely coming down there.
The problem is you're not going to be able to afford long enough cables to reach my speakers because those AudioQuest cables like $5,000 for 8 feet.
How long? Oh, your shit's all the way. Your shit's all the way. Like
we won't do
one side.
We won't do it with my reference system. We'll do it with these. We'll do it, which we'll slum it with these $16,000 RBHs or these $16,000 Revels. We're gonna have to slum it.
We'll slum it. I'm going to say if you cannot hear a difference between an AudioQuest and a Monoprice,
okay,
there's some shit going on with your hearing.
As long as you give me at least, as long as you give me 12 gauge cable, 12 gauge,
like regular 12 gauge cable.
Yeah, oxygen free multi-strand 12 gauge cable, 10 foot each side. You could bring the most expensive cable on the planet.
Okay.
And I'll set up the test. It's gonna be we're gonna do a sighted test first, and then we'll do a blind test.
Okay.
And if you can't identify that cable 90% of the time, you're blowing smoke out of your ass.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
And then you have to come back. Then you have to come back. Then you have to come back on this channel and apologize to your viewers that you were peddling AudioQuest dogma for too long.
100%. I will do that.
You're not going to cut this out now, are you? You're not going to cut this part out of the video.
I'm not going to cut out.
So you're going to have
confident.
Here's what I want.
Confident in my hearing.
Here's what I want to go on. Here's what I want to go down. I want you to come on after you come to my house and I prove that you're wrong. I want you to come on and say, "Hey guys, I just want to tell you, I've been wrong all along. Gene's been right. This cable stuff, it's a bit of snake oil. These batteries on the cable, it's really not
looking forward to this.
I'm really sorry about that. And I promise you, I won't be peddling this nonsense anymore. That's all I want. That's all.
Very confident. I'm very confident in my hearing. 100% confident in my hearing. I can tell the difference.
I'm sure you've got great hearing, but right now you're suffering from placebo effect. It's not your hearing. Your hearing is at least as good or better than mine. I would say your hearing is probably better than mine because you're Asian.
100%. Okay, we're gonna get to the Dave Chappelle controversy here.
Hey, my daughter has the best hearing, man. My 14-year-old daughter, we were in this loud party at a restaurant, and it was like, I measured it was 80 dB in there constantly, right? I couldn't hear shit. People were talking, I was getting confused. Just as a joke, my daughter was sitting at the other end of the table. I put on YouTube, I put on a 15 kilohertz sine wave at a very low level on my phone, and she immediately knew it was on. Nobody else at the table heard it. I'm like, please, you have the best hearing I've ever seen. Please become an audioholic. Please start listening to stuff. She's like, no, I like the sound. I don't have the attention span to sit down and do what you do. But she's got the gift. Okay, she's got the audioholic gene, and I'm trying to get her to do the stuff that we're doing here.
You put a 15 hertz sine wave?
15 kilohertz.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. She heard it on my phone in an 80 dB noisy restaurant. So she has the ability to discern lower level than the noise floor in the room at high frequencies. I couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. Most people couldn't do that. You play it through your phone? From my phone, and she was sitting like 8 feet away from me.
Wait, what app is that? I'm going to try that. What app is this?
Just go on YouTube and type in 15 kilohertz sine wave. Yeah. Crazy. But you're in a quiet room right now. So if you could hear it, that's great. But in the noisy restaurant, no, the masking effect will kill you.
Your phone can do that? I know your phone can do that.
Yeah, your phone is good. My phone is good probably to about 17K. And then I don't know if it's YouTube because of the sampling rate is filtering it out, or the speaker.
Why are you even playing that? What made you? It was like, listen, guys,
I just do it to torment it. Sometimes, like, my daughter will be swimming in a pool, and I'll be like, "It's time to get out," and she doesn't hear me. So then I put on a tone, and then she immediately gets out. It's like I got to train like a dog whistle. You can't hear it, can you?
Oh, if I bring it to my ear, I can hear it. It's like.
Yeah. I think I just heard it when you put it on, but I don't think I can hear it 15. Oh, I think I can only hear it at like 13 or 14K now, unfortunately.
Fuck, I'm fine. We're doing this fucking test. I got this shit. I got this cable test locked down. Hell yeah. Man.
All right,
Oh,
I can't wait,
dude.
You better not back out.
If I do this fucking test and I fucking win,
yeah,
what is that gonna say for you?
It's gonna change
Jesus
everything that I've ever thought about cables, man. Change everything.
Listen, I don't even know if I want to do this just for the sake of your legacy.
Let's do it, man.
I don't even know, man.
You know what? Science is all about disproving itself. It's not about holding on to your own beliefs and thinking that there's nothing else. So if somehow you have this magic ear that could hear, because the AudioQuest cable is not going to measure better than a Monoprice cable. I've already shown that. So if there's some magical property in that AudioQuest cable that you could hear that's improving the sound, and you could identify that 90% of the time in a blind test, dude, you should be on the Tonight Show. Stephen Colbert should have you on his show, and you should be on Ripley's Believe It or Not. You should tour the world for having the best ears on the planet. I want part of
this.
That.
Is, you know what? This is, you sound like an AudioQuest salesman. You're preconditioning me to lose, but I know what you're doing. It's not going to happen because I know what I can hear. You guys in the chat right now, he's preconditioning me to lose, but we know right now, all you guys on my channel, not the Audioholic fans.
If you poll the average
got
reader,
this one.
If you poll your viewers, I'm going to say most of them are on my side of the cable debate. They don't like the stuff you're pimping with AudioQuest.
Well, what happens when I win? They're gonna be like, "Fuck Shane's," right?
Yeah, but
you know what AudioQuest is gonna do?
What?
You're gonna see my face on their boxes in Best Buy.
They better pay for that.
They're gonna pay for sure.
Right now, they're giving you 50 cents of licorice so you could go and pimp their stuff. They better actually give you some serious bank if that's gonna happen.
I'm excited. Listen, I'm excited right now. This is not the mojito speaking. I'm excited right now.
Right. And now, when you do this AudioQuest cable, is it going to be with the batteries or without?
I don't even care. Whatever. Well, with the batteries, of course. With the batteries. You see that little black stack right there?
Uh-huh.
That's an AudioQuest stack.
So why don't they use those battery cables on, like, why doesn't SpaceX use that on their ships when they go out in space and they're transmitting gigahertz and gigabytes of data? Why don't they have batteries on those cables?
Because they're using the negative feedback from the aluminum transparency of the enclosure of the spacecraft to power the craft from the solar energy, which acts
let me
as
ask you a philosophical question. Is it harder to transmit an audio signal, or is it harder to transmit shit that's in the gigahertz range?
It's harder to transmit light through the spectral sphere.
Okay,
from
so
point A to point B.
You're just going to give me a BS answer.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Did you see Interstellar?
I hated that movie. I'm sorry. I mean, I spent 3 hours watching that movie, and then she winds up in the closet with meeting her dad. I'm like, I don't know. The sound was good in that movie, but I thought it was such an overrated movie that I only watched it once and never watched it again.
You have to watch it several times to appreciate it.
Okay, I'll take your word.
I hated it the first time I watched it.
With AudioQuest cables, right? With AudioQuest.
I hated it the first time I watched it.
Right.
But upon subsequent viewings, until he gets to the space maze, I really do like it.
Well, you know, the first time I watched Borat, I hated that movie, and then after like the second or third time watching it with other people, now that's like a classic. Now I'll always, if I have someone over the house and they've never seen Borat, we're watching Borat and we're watching Dodgeball. 2 movies that if you've never seen, you have to watch with me.
This is a false statement here.
Your viewers smart.
I'm 100. This is one of your viewers.
Your viewers, well, you have at least 6 or 7 viewers, and at least 3 of them are here. The rest are mine. But your viewer knows. They're not dumb. They know they're being peddled nonsense when the AudioQuest shoe salesman comes on and starts talking about his cables.
I have a guy right here says he heard 15 kilohertz over the mic.
I thought I heard it too, but I know I can't hear 15K, so I don't know.
I mean, granted, I have this microphone. I don't know who makes it anymore now. I can't think of it, but high quality microphone.
Yeah.
Costs more than your headphones.
This one's not bad.
This costs more than your Storm processor. Okay.
Nice.
Thoughts on power conditioners?
Oh yeah, I use them in Florida for sure, man. All my systems have power conditioners, and they're all UL or CSA approved. They're not the stuff.
I think his question is, Thoughts on AudioQuest power conditioners?
I never tested them, but given the track record of that company, I would rather put something that has CE or TU or UL markings on it. That's why I stick with Furman, Panamax, that kind of stuff.
Listen, I have all three. Okay,
I know, and you're going to tell me you got magic
perfectly
with that.
fine.
You got magic with the AudioQuest one.
All three work perfectly.
You know what you are, Shane? You're a brand ambassador for AudioQuest.
I guess you could partially say that. I got no problems with that. No problems with that. If I'm using a product, I consider myself the brand ambassador. Right now, I'm using an Apple MacBook Air, $700. You know what? Gene's camera sometimes turns to yellow. Mine doesn't.
That's true. Yeah, no, I would like it. I'd like to get a MacBook.
Hold on.
Actually, you know what I'm getting? You know what I'm getting next week? You're gonna laugh. I'm getting a Commodore 64.
For shits and gigs.
Yeah, there's a guy that makes a full-size replica, and it's an emulator, and it'll play all the games, and I'm gonna review it on our channel. And don't copy me and go get yourself one.
What are you gonna do?
I'm reviewing a Commodore 64
for
on our channel.
Why?
Because growing up as a kid, I loved 8-bit games, and I know that if I do that video, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, you know what, this takes me back. I'm getting it. I'm going to be playing Raid Over Bungling Bay and Beachhead and all that other stuff. I'm telling you, I know it's a home theater channel, but I know that there's guys our age that remember the 80s.
Nobody's doing that. All the people buying AudioQuest games not doing that.
And an Amiga. They're sending me an Amiga too, which I was as a kid, as a high school kid, I couldn't afford an Amiga. So now I actually get to relive that high school fantasy of having an Amiga computer.
This goes back to my story of saying, Shane, why would you not have Monolith in your home theater? Because when I grew up, all that shit that I could never afford, whatever. Now I can afford it, so why would I go backwards? Now you're going to get yourself an Amiga. I think back then you couldn't afford it, right?
Why not have both? I could appreciate.
Well, now you can have both.
Well, an Amiga
back then you couldn't.
By today's standards, is a primitive computer, but
by today's standards. But
see, there's a guy here that has an Amiga 500. I'm telling you, this is going to get a good response.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Super chat. Sam Hain, $5. Hey, has Gene bought the Sony A9 speakers yet? I know he loves bouncy house speakers.
Sony A9. Is that just an Atmos module? I don't know what that is.
Apparently you haven't watched my review. Second most viewed next behind Robinson.
Really?
He's only got 500,000. I only got about 64. But yeah.
Wow. Is it just called an A9? It's got to be called something else.
Guys, look at his camera. It's a yellow. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, I ordered a camera from Amazon and it never showed up. So, it's that wireless system. No, I haven't checked that out. Yeah, is it better than a real? Did Andrew say it was better than a real system?
I mean, I guess Sam didn't ask me my opinion on it, but he wants to know your opinion on it.
I don't have an opinion because I never messed with it. But that's probably something we should look at.
Something you should purchase is only about $1,800.
Yeah, and I'm not about purchasing this stuff. If a company doesn't want to send us review samples, I'm not going to front it myself.
Such an elitist.
It's not an elitist. It's not a business model that could survive if you have to purchase the gear and then review it and then sell it. Or I don't have time to go and do that. I don't hoard gear and sell it off on my Patreon like some people do. I don't have that time, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, speaking of which, I haven't. Let me bring it up. We'll circle back around this one when I do a little search, so I can bring it up on the second screen here. Monoprice Distant.
What is that?
I think he said Monoprice Distant last, next to AudioQuest.
AudioQuest poop. I love it.
I think that's what he says. I think that's what Pope says. Gene, do you use a sub with the Revel and RBH?
Right now, I don't have a sub up here. I was trying to do a 2-channel system without doing a separate powered sub, but right now this room has a really bad suck out between 25 and 40 hertz because there's a half wall. So instead of putting a sub to fix the problem, I'm building a wall. Because I want to have the privacy anyway, since it's an office, and I want to try to really have a full range system in here without the sub. But I might add one. You know, Paralissa might send me one, you know, something like Shane can't get, that kind of thing.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to see if I can change that situation.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes I can't afford a lot of things. I'll admit it. That's why I usually have to resort to Patreon. Listen, if you guys want to support me on Patreon, you can join us for as little as $1 a month. You can get special conversational pieces such as this one with me and Gene. Or for $5 a month, you can bump yourself up to not only that, but great free products for me as well. Not only movies, digital codes, sometimes give away projectors, 4K movies, and steelbooks.
Wow.
For $10 a month, you can have one-on-one video chats with me. $10 a month.
That's a deal.
Look, we could talk about whatever. It doesn't have to be about AV. It could be about love, life, dating, therapeutical situations, whatever that is. Talk about whatever. You got health problems? We could talk about it. It doesn't have to be AV. It doesn't have to be audio video. But if you want to know the most about, listen, maybe Gene knows a little bit more about AV stuff than I do, as far as numbers. But as far as life is concerned, $10 a month will be best friend.
I think it's well worth it, to be honest with you. Just to hear you do ASMR on anything is worth the money.
Gene, what do you have to offer on your Patreon that's better than mine?
Well, obviously myself. I mean, right there. Right there. For as long as I'm around, myself.
Okay,
no,
guys.
I'm not giving into all those perks like you. I don't have them. Sorry.
Guys, winner, me. Gene's got 0. I got it all.
Definitely go on his Patreon, not mine.
What about Canary cables in Mogami?
Good stuff, especially the Morgami. I don't think that's how you spell Mogami. I don't think there's an R in it.
Mogami.
Mogami, I think it is. But yeah, that's good stuff. I've got the Canary 4S11s. Those are great cables.
You see
no
this?
No batteries on it.
You can confirm Shane's Patreon is better than OnlyFans.
Wow. Wow.
Little teaser dick pics if you join my Patreon.
Little is the key word.
You called me on that one. Gene, what's your favorite DRC for speakers and subs?
What is DRC?
DRC.
What does that mean?
No,
dynamic room.
Dynamic operation. What's your favorite? Okay, I don't know.
Room correction. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
Any other good ones before we log off here? Any other super chats?
I think we said enough incriminating stuff to last, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think so too.
My batteries are running low right now. I've got to go recharge them. I don't have all those AudioQuest batteries like you do. So
not everybody can live the high life, such as
True.
Spare Change over here. It's only because of my patrons. That we can put on live chats at 2 a.m, like that, or 1 a.m. It's because of my patrons helping fund these live streams. So I mean,
so he was talking about digital room correction. So I don't really have a particular favorite because I still like to do things mostly manual. I am testing DRAC on the Storm, but I'm not into it enough to give a definitive. But I've got Anthem Arc, which I used to love, and now they've updated it to Genesis, and I'm having a lot of problems with it for correction. So I'm trying to work with them to see what's going on that. So at the end of the day, I like manual PEQ because I like to control my own destiny.
Living that Storm life. Once you move up to Trinov, you don't have to worry about that.
Trinov. Oh,
but all right, guys. Thanks for. Let me just make sure we didn't miss anything. Super sticker. Okay. All right. Last chance. Any super chats coming through? No. 5, 4, 3.
Thanks for having me on.
2, 1. Okay. No more super chats coming through. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to call this a night. Thanks for watching.